Good afternoon, everybody. I said it right this time. Good afternoon, everybody. Microphone check. Looks like everything's working correctly here. All right. Welcome to the daily afternoon market recap and offering overview. Over the next 30 to 60 minutes or so, we're going to be covering what took place today, the trade setups that presented themselves, and those are the trade setups per the rules that are outlined in the Day Trading Academy and VIP trade plans. I'm going to talk about every setup that presented itself today, but remember, not all patterns, not all setups, all of those are created equal. The ones I'm going to be covering here don't use common sense as a filter at all. Going long in a massive downtrend is just as applicable in this kind of movement, and that is kind of to ensure total fairness. That way all of the patterns and everything are non-cherry picked. It just goes straight through. Don't forget, before we kick things off, make sure to smash the like button on the YouTube side of things and let the algorithms on YouTube know what's up. Don't forget also to subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss the next video or live event that we've got going on. If you do want to hang out with me and the rest of the VIPs for the entire US morning session, you can register for a 1-week trial to the private VIP live trade room right in the main page of SSFTG. And then from there, after you register, you also gain access to the 24-page guide on risk reward, and along with that, you are also able to sign up for a 30-minute call with me if you have any questions. So a ton of stuff just for clicking on a link. If you have any questions about what it is that we offer, what we have available for you, or anything in between, we do a Q&A time afterward, after we go through the charts and stuff, and so that way we will definitely get you covered. So, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at what's going on today. Today was a bit of a mess, all things considered, right? If we look at the overall momentum up and down from yesterday's price action, went all the way down, until it didn't, and then it went up until it didn't. It was just a V-bottom kind of day, and on the 15-minute chart, you can definitely see that V-bottom stands out very prominently. After a V-bottom takes place, and we talked about this on the YouTube morning brief with the YouTube members, when we have this kind of V-bottom, usually when the market pulls back, they want to settle in on the sort of neckline. If you think of this as a head and shoulders, a lot of times that's what they come back to. And they did. It was very messy when they came back to it, though, and that's where a lot of the problems really started as far as today on a NASDAQ pattern perspective goes. Now, if we go through the patterns one by one, every single one of them, again, common sense aside, it doesn't really matter. Whatever, all of them. We'll start off, get rid of my entries on the chart so we can look at these. The first one was a continuation bounce along immediately after the open. We know how these trades typically work, but this time around ended up being a bounce 4 for a positive 2R. Again, it's right after the open. It's an incredibly dangerous time of day, but it is there. We'll still talk about it. On the way down, we have a bounce 3 for another 2R move to the down with a break lower. It made a lot more sense given what was going on with the slide lower here, with a continuation phase back down. With the bulls rotating higher, we have a bounce 3 for another 2R higher before a deeper corrective phase into a 5, but that didn't create anything else. All of this was all part of the same structure, and there wasn't enough inside of there to reverse anything. The bears did have an opportunity to the downside over here, but nothing actually came of it. There weren't any patterns or anything in there. It just went down and then straight back up again, kind of par for the course. As the market rotated back up, it tried making a new high very momentarily, and then it just got master blasted off of that high and just got wrecked. That was on Powell speaking. And with that movement, that created a bounce 5-3R with, again, if you're fast enough to catch something that moved within seconds, it was there. Again, common sense aside, just so that we're on the same page. Beyond that, there really hasn't been much else. The market's just kind of hanging out, stabilizing, and it's just sort of hovering, if you will. If we zoom out a little bit more, we can see that this was a gargantuan rally off of the lows. Likely a lot of shorts, if anything, in this overall movement got stuck hard, and now we're seeing them cycle all the way up through. If we break this down, let me get rid of all this stuff here. If we break this down and we look at the overall structure from the bottom to the top, where is the bottom? There it is. From the bottom to the top, the overall cycle ended up being a huge L5, and then a big old reversal all the way back up. So with that consideration, well, the zone of interest is a little bit further down. Bit awkward as far as where it is at the moment, but that's going to be the zone of interest if they start pulling back down to the 715s and to the 687s. S&P is, well, they're having a little bit of trouble. The S&P is trying to rotate back to the upside, but realistically, if we look at what they've been able to do today, we had a cycle off of the top. They tried getting going, and with huge reversal bar off of the top. That was insane. They did eventually rotate down, but they couldn't even break a new low and cycle all the way back up to a new high once again. That's where the bulls start taking over, and things start shifting gears a little bit. But since then, we haven't even been able to break above that. We're just stuck. So more likely than anything else, the market's looking to pull back to find some value, and that value point is going to be down here at around the 69.50s or so. And wow, that lines up almost perfectly with that POC too. The POC of the impulse move to the upsides at 70.75. Everything's in the same spot. NASDAQ's getting slapped down a little bit here. Although not really based off of much. Let's see what they're able to do here after they get a bit more info. It may not look like it, but there is a potential of this to reverse all the way back up to the highs again, just like we were talking about yesterday. It didn't look like it was going to happen yesterday either. S&P bulls will be looking for a way to get into this, but they're going to be looking for some value more than anything else. At the moment, we don't have a whole lot of that, although given the overall momentum and how bullish this has become, sort of off of that initial rotation down and then a total flip. We're hovering right around halfway. A full one-to-one flip would be almost up to 4,700. Got a little bit of room to go here. Watching to see how the market wants to respond here. One sec, be right back. Okay, sorry about that. We're back. Not a pattern trader, but the ES looks like a cup and handle, taking yesterday into account. Yeah, and you know, with the whole, you can't really see it on RTH. Hang on. With that whole V bottom, I mean, we have to zoom back on the S&P and kind of reconfirm the fact that we're dealing with a market that's still technically bullish on the S&P. We've got higher highs and higher lows. So, you know, like the NASDAQ, they had that lower high, lower low transition, big pullback stuff on the 60-minute. But the S&P, they haven't had that. So, I mean, even inside of this movement, if the sellers fail this drive down, you can kind of see the little spike in channel that formed here. Big overdrive on the low. Usually that means that we're in for a larger reversal back up. once again, BTFD, right? I mean, it was kind of par for the course these days, I guess, but I would 100% agree. S&P's got 4 minutes 40 left on this candle. We've got a little bit of a bearish rotation with some really nasty bear bars on the way down. This looks just not so great. Does appear as though we may be getting a little bit of an algo trend line, which means that we've got intermediary support. I don't want to lose my line, my place in line on that one. That would be at around 75, 70? Yeah. The gap fill is 75 quarter. I mean, splitting hairs, but 75 quarter is a heck of a lot better. No candle gapping to the downside to suggest that there's some danger or anything like that. The downside just looks like it's relatively guarded. Buyers are trying to buy the dip. The continuation move to the upside as far as the dip is concerned on the NASDAQ, that starts finding support at around the 716s. It's underneath the moving average cluster. There's some caveats to that one. But if we look at the overall structure, I mean, all things considered, we've got, wow, a POC balance point smack in the middle. Fantastic. It would be nice to see that dive a little bit lower, but I guess we do have a VVP down there. It's better than nothing. Kind of difficult finding something to line up here with this wacky POC in the middle. We'll see what they're able to do here. 3 minutes left on the current candle on the S&P. Bulls still appear as though they've got the upper hand. See what they want to do here. S&P coming underneath a little bit of pressure. Support's still a ways away. I definitely don't want to be a seller, but at the same time, it's hard to not want to buy. There's a little bit of FOMO, that's for sure. Got to see a bit more of a dip, though, until we get favorable prices. Two minutes left on the bar. Two different zones of interest at the moment on the S&P, 75 quarter and 69.5, although variable on whether or not they get to either one of those. Market catching a little bit of a pop back to the upside. The S&P is creeping above that last bear bar. Normally, that would be a zone of interest for me to try to even scalp back against, but there's only a minute left on the candle. There's a chance that they kind of overhype extend this back up to that blue line there, and possibly even further. Look at the trend that came before. I don't want to fight against that. Give me something a bit more reliable to work with on the S&P, and that might give us a clue. A strong bull bar will be looking for bulls, but more preferably than anything, bulls on a bit of a pullback first. Nice rally back up. The challenging spot here for bulls is that if they buy way up here, the resistance isn't very far away. Like, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. So more likely than anything, buyers are going to want to try to find some better pricing. The close is at 83. I would like to see if I can get back to like 81s even. Higher low continuation, something along those lines, just for a better price. NASDAQ's also trying to transition higher, but so far hasn't been able to do a ton. All right, S&P triggers in the bulls above the top, meaning that they would buy at 84.25. 83.25, not so interested in. 82.25 would be the earliest. See what they're able to do with this, but 82.25 is the area of interest. Effectively, we know that buyers are buying at the top. We know that they're going to be buying above these bull bars because they're expecting a new high. Why wouldn't they when they zoom out just a little bit from today? But that said, I don't want to buy at the top with like 3 ticks of room. That's just not it's not my forte. I like to get a better price if I can. But sometimes when you hold out for a better price, you miss the whole thing entirely. It's the price you pay. They've got under 3 minutes left now. Almost up to those highs and trying to creep it a little bit further up. We've got a pretty obvious wedge creeping its way down from the highs and working its way up from the lows now. And tap the high. So this is one of those examples where I try to get a better price. I just don't get a fill. Not to say that there won't be one, but I don't want to buy it way up here. Gonna have to give it a little more time. All right, bulls, let's see what you got. The NASDAQ hasn't quite made a new high yet, although it does look like they're giving it a shot. They've only got a minute 50 left. Getting harder the less time they have. Unless they start cruising. Speaking of, nice bullish lift to the upside. Breaking above and looking for even more continuation. Wow, what a move. NASDAQ all the way back up. What are they going to do? Like trap the highs and go down again? Or are they going to actually reverse it this time? Got a bit of a mixed bag going on here. S&P's not looking like that nice of a candle anymore. What's all this wick on the top? Come on now. 35 seconds left. You can make it back. Get back up there. Maybe. Come on now. There we go. Getting a bit more continuation up. 10 seconds. Nice. Very nice bull bar. Incredibly strong bull bar means that buyers are going to be looking for more continuation to try to finish the sequence with 3 bars up to a new high. That said, a lot of buyers are going to be having a hard time buying directly at the top because that's basically where they're getting stuck in at right now is 87.25. If they want to buy, looking for a continuation on that bull bar, that's, well, they're 2 ticks off the high. Challenging location, to say the least. Let's see if they can pop a new high. Get it out of their system. Nice little back and forth. Looks like a bit of a megaphone. Oh, man. Big blow off on the top, too. Really, really strong bull bar. There's still 4 minutes left in the candle, mind you. So with 4 minutes left in the candle, any decisive pullback inside of this will likely be a zone that scalpers will utilize. But it's got to pull back a decent ways. You know, get down to like the 88s, something like that. That would be a much larger zone of interest than where it is now. Still more on the scalp side of things. But again, the bulls are gaining more proof, and there's still 3.5 minutes left for this bar to still close nice and strong up, even on an inside pullback. The amount of time left plays a big part of it. Let's see if they're able to do something with it. NASDAQ is screaming higher. We're breaking above the previous moving averages. It basically went from low to high. It makes it kind of difficult to really do anything with that, but, well, it's there. All right, I'm going to see if I can grab the bid on the S&P here. 88.50, tested but didn't get a fill. All right. Swept in on the S&P. Looking for the continuation phase back up into the 89.50s. Oh man, we're starting to get some herky-jerkus again. All kinds of volatility. Not hearing any news or anything. In fact, we don't really have any other news announcements, I don't believe, right? API at 4:30, but that's not going to do anything. 1 o'clock bond notes, nah. All right, scalp zone now moves down to 88.50. NASDAQ's also beginning to pull back a little bit. Now, after such a strong rally, a lot of times buyers will just start stacking into the L1, which is exactly where it is now. S&P target taken out for the scalp. There's the point of day. Gotta love that. NASDAQ is bouncing off of the L1. Although it's not necessarily structurally a pattern, it is a full-blown reversal off the lows with a continuation higher. It's hard to ignore, so... Nice little scalp on the S&P to get the afternoon going. Bulls still creeping up into some pretty strong blow-off momentum here. Buyers on the L1 creeping it way up now. Stepping into the jungle, we got crickets. Hang on a second. Got an announcement from Upland. First off, I don't know if you guys seen it or if any of you watching are at least into Upland at all. Obviously, I am, if you couldn't tell. But there is an announcement that they're launching LA now. So, oh boy, I am excited. I am much excited. Got buyers trying to gain continuation back through the upside here to keep this going. The S&P bulls have closed out that extra strong bull bar. Honestly, the one area that I would really like to see is a dip below that last bull bar early in the candle. There's still 4 minutes left. So early in the candle like this is a great time for it to get that inside dip. There's still plenty of time for it to bounce back up without, you know, having too much contest. There is also a candle gap that was formed inside of there, suggesting upside target should end at around 95.25. NASDAQ doesn't really have a pattern. It just kind of went straight up. We'll see what they want to do, I guess. If it takes too long on the S&P, that's not going to be good either. I would really like to see it get done within the first, like, 3 minutes or so. All right. Got a little time left, S&P. Man, they're making it work for it. Two minutes 45. They're going to push it right to the buzzer, aren't they? Or they might not even get it. Well, okay. Just a little more. A couple good pops like that. S&P, it's all we need. Oh, we're running out of time. 2 minutes left. I'll give it another like 15 or 20 seconds. Never mind, it's gone. All right, I'll cancel it. I tried. Man alive. Not quite there yet. So far, we've got a point this afternoon. A point and a scratch, actually. As far as today is concerned, it's a point and a scratch, a point. That one was basically an expensive point, another point, an expensive point, and another point. So, points all over the place. Not really any big runs, though, that have wanted to really let loose or go anywhere too crazy. NASDAQ, on the other hand, that thing's melting faces. 50 seconds left on the current candle for the S&P. Now, we did have a gap up from close to open, and if we look back, the last one was a gap up from close to open as well. We did have a gap from close to open down over here, then up, up, up. Everything's pointing up. A bear bar here could be nothing more than a false signal trap top, but if it closes strong enough, there will be traders that take it. That's a pretty strong bear bar. Man, I don't know if I want to go against something like that. That's tough. Technically speaking, it's a fully inside bear bar. We still have an open candle gap. But buying directly into the bear bar, I feel like is just asking for trouble. It's going to make a lot more sense to see them dip like 86 quarters. Pressure that gap zone. Four minutes left on the candle. Now, honestly, the longer it takes to trigger in the entry, the better here. I would rather this trigger in a long going underneath a bear bar, you know, at like 2 minutes and have a little bit less time, because a weak wick on the bottom is just as likely to bounce up. The thing that I don't want is a really heavy bear bar that follows it up, so we've got candle gapping and all the other stuff that we don't want. Basically, making the bear side a valid argument. We don't want that to happen. Not if I'm trying to go long. It's not really giving us a whole lot to work with on the NASDAQ still. A near test of the L2. That's about it. S&P's got a little under 3 minutes to go. A bit more favorable as far as timing goes, but we can't let it get too low either. That would cause problems too. It's got to be in that magic sweet spot. Preferably have more than a minute left. Two minutes 20. Getting close. Triggered underneath the bear bar. I thought they would have a little more than that. That's why I offset my entry. Okay. Minute 40. I would really like to have over a minute. But I am quickly running out of that time. 15 seconds, come on. I'll give it to under 45, but if it gets under 45, I can't anymore. That's just not enough. Hard cut at 45. 10 seconds more. Come on. Nah, doubtable now. Alright, hard cut. No thanks. Gotta have time for it to work too, you know? It's useful. Little after 1:30. Feel free to get those questions in. We'll get those covered for you while we're going through and seeing if we can find any scalping opportunities, all that fun stuff. Now, if you have no idea what it is that we're doing, or maybe you're just new to the markets, keep in mind we do have the Day Trading Academy. The Day Trading Academy is 19 plus hours, I think over 20 now, hours of video course material that will get you on the know as far as what's going on, why the market's doing what it's doing, why your stop just got taken, etc., etc., etc. All of that you can find over on SSFTG. If you're looking for a trade plan or a whole bunch of trade plans. I'm a visual learner, so I felt like video course material was a better option. Show me, you know. Got the buyers trying to get something going here again. That last bull bar was not exactly the, or that last bear bar rather, was not exactly the most potent thing in the world, and it didn't end up being a trap. I thought the sellers would have a bit more to try to pulse down and grab it, but turns out that wasn't it. So, weak bull bar though, so if it does trigger above the highs, it would be at 46.90. I don't really want to be a buyer at 90 though. My target would have to be at 91, which is the high a day. That's challenging. A lot more beneficial to allow the bulls to trigger in and then try to find an inside pullback to better the probabilities. Here it kind of sits. Three and a half minutes left. Technically speaking, it never even triggered in the bulls. I like that for 86.50 to challenge the gap. It's got to have a little bit of extra time, though, because it's going to have to rotate all the way back up. So, more than 2 minutes on this one. Running out of time. We'll see what they're able to do here, but seems like they've got a bit of pressure. All right, now it's pinned up towards the highs. Not enough time on the S&P. We're going to have to cut that one. S&P doesn't really want to play ball so much anymore, huh? We had a couple nice scalps today, throughout the day, actually. Several in the U.S. morning session as well with the VIPs. But, man, it's kind of hanging out in the middle of Nowheresville now. Just a bunch of inside bars. Technically, both of these candles are inside the previous bull bar. Got a minute and a half left. A lot of buying volume stepping up to the plate on the S&P and the NASDAQ here. Getting pressured back up. NASDAQ never did hit the L2, did they? It came like a tick away, but couldn't quite get it. All right. Don't forget, as far as news is concerned, a little bit later, we do have the US API crude oil inventories. That's going to give us an idea of what to expect for tomorrow's crude inventories, the API report. The expected number, negative 1.95. We'll see how all of that actually comes out, though. That's about all we have left to worry about. $40 seconds left, and they haven't even gone above the bull bar. This is just, it's not looking better, that's for sure. Jeez. Looking across the board here and seeing what's going on, we've got the NASDAQ and the S&P, which we already know what they're up to. Crude oil is catching a really, really nice leg to the upside, up into the 81s. Big pulse above the 80s with a continuation. $80 to $80.50 was kind of a brick wall. We've now cleared that, so they've got some shot for a continuation back to the upside as we continue navigating higher through the 1-to-1 target for the earlier bulls. As far as gold is concerned, we've got more momentum to the upside here as well. Didn't quite get the pullback that we wanted back down to those lows, but, well, it's there it is, off to the races, screaming higher. Next zone of resistance, honestly, on gold's going to be right around here at the 1820s. That's the previous inside swing, high closes, highs, etc. Tough spot, but if it can make its way through there, then it's got up to the 27s to 30s. It's got a little more room. Bitcoin hovering in the middle of no man's ville. We had a quick little trap underneath the lows and it rotated back up. Since then, it's not really done anything. But one key thing within this kind of back and forth choppy sloppy, they made a new high. That's important because now we've got a new high. That's what they need for a trend reversal. It's still early, of course, but that helps. Every little bit helps. Finally got the L2 on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ bulls are going to be looking for a continuation phase now that they've got the L2 proof. We just haven't seen them show up to the party yet. Kind of keeping an eye on the time and sales here as well to see if they start getting flushed. A lot of buying volume starting to step up to the plate. Hasn't quite flushed though. Or ripped, whatever you want to call it. NASDAQ looking for a continuation phase on the upswing here. See if they can follow this through with a bit of gumption to the upside. Primary objectives on this L2 follow through are going to be, well, with one contract we don't have a whole lot of flexibility, but it's there at around 801. If it offers up the ability to gain a few more though, that does open the door for extended targets. Nice little L2 flip. See what they're able to make of it. Tried buying the bid on that little dip, but I didn't get anything. Story of my life. All right, NASDAQ, let's see what you got if you want to pulse the top this time around. I didn't get a fill on that last dip. S&P has got a minute and 45 left. See if they're able to get something going this time around. S&P's got a bit of back and forth. NASDAQ waiting for a continuation pulse to the upside. Very nice volume momentum coming in with size. It's hard to see because the time and sales goes quick. But there was a decent amount of size in that little pop higher there. Normally it's just a bunch of one contracts. So when you see 3s and 5s and all of those float across the screen, you know that they're filling anything they can get their hands on. Ooh, that's a really nice bull bar. See if they can keep running this through. We've got the first scalper's objective off. Now it's just a matter of whether or not they can follow this through and run this thing up. Really nice bull bar, but they've got to get some follow through here. S&P's a mess. That looks horrendous. NASDAQ on this pulse higher. I'm going to use this as a way to get out of the move that didn't follow through the way that I wanted it to, so I'll use this next time around as an escape hatch. Thank you. Nice little continuation pop-up. I tried to get more out of the NASDAQ. I waited so long for that one to set up, but... Man, talk about lackluster, huh? Of course, good old Murphy's Law, now that I'm out, that's when it's probably going to take off, right? But nice little rally to the upside there. Got a bit of it. Considering they didn't really give us a whole lot of a pattern, okay. We'll take it. Bulls still clicky-clacking in. Huge amount of support coming in at 88 on the S&P. I think it's like a brick wall down there. Going on 145 as well. Get those last questions in. We'll roll into those, and then we'll call it an afternoon. At least the S&P offered up a nice little one point, kind of a little more of an expensive point, a point and a scratch, if you will. And a nice little bump on the NASDAQ, too. Although, not exactly what we were looking for, but that's been the whole day with NASDAQ. Yep, there it goes. Right above a new high. On the S&P, NASDAQ, no. Not yet, at least. More bullish continuation. NASDAQ starting to follow along. There they follow through and continue to pop. Clickety, clickety, clickety. Holy crap. Bulls screaming to the upside again. I mean, as far as upside objectives go, we've got the unfilled gap, which is just up here, 93.75. We're just like a tick or two away. That's the unfilled gap from a few days ago. That's about all that's left, too. Now, don't forget as well, if you're looking for a way to join me during the New York Stock Exchange, we have the live trade room access included with all levels of VIP, meaning that you can join us from 9 a.m. to noon, 12 o'clock, or around there for the U.S. morning session every day with the rest of VIPs. No monthly fees or anything like that. It's all part of the purchase cost. And of course, after going out the backside of holidays and everything else, if you're looking for a more budget-friendly approach to fit your needs during the here and now, we do also have all kinds of different payment plans ranging as low as $84 a month for 12 months. So a lot of really, really awesome ways to get involved that aren't going to break the bank. And that also allows you a better way to start out, too, so you're not ripping your account in half just to join. Of course, if you do need any info about becoming a member or anything else, you can always shoot me a message at my email, jhb@ssftg.com. And if you register for a trial, with which you can do right on the main page of ssftg.com, you can also sign up for a 30-minute call with me so you can get your questions taken care of there too. Big rejection off the top, heavy slide to the downside with a lot of bearish pressure. This isn't looking good. This is looking like the bulls are going to get slammed right now. The way that this is sliding almost feels like the bulls spent too long and they were finally given the relief of breaking a new top. And once they got that new top, they said, nope, and they all jumped ship. Well, if all the buyers are jumping ship in one spot just because they were buyers, if they're getting out, that means that they are now sellers. That could be a problem here. So far, we're still holding above the L2s, but it's coming under some fire here. All right, let's do last call for questions and we'll wrap it up. hopefully everyone had a fantastic day of trading today. This morning was a little bit of a sucker punch to the face. The S&P was nice all day, but the NASDAQ was a vindictive SOB today. It's all good. Hopefully you guys did well. Big old whatever you want to call that candle. Jeez, that thing's nasty looking. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in, so that's going to do it for the afternoon session here. Now, like I said, if you do have any questions, or if there were any questions that I may have missed along the way, you can always shoot me an email, jhb@ssftg.com. But that's going to do it for today. Like we were talking about, if you're looking at figuring out how to trade, or trading is totally new for you, or you're just not sure what's going on, check out the Day Trading Academy over on the main page of SSFTG. It comes loaded with 19, I think over 20 actually, hours of video course material. That way you can get started on the right foot. Beyond that, we always do go live every trading day that we're open at 1300 Eastern, just like we did today, to see if you can find some S&P scalps, review some of what happened earlier in the morning, and kind of go from there. Of course, like I said, if you do have any questions, you know where to get a hold of me. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you had a fantastic trading day, and we will see you all tomorrow. For you VIPs and YouTube members, we'll see you all back tomorrow morning, bright and early, all right? Have a good one. We'll talk to y'all later. Thanks.